A few days ago, I was down RSPB Newport Wetlands and I was chatting to one of their awesome volunteers and he asked me a question. He asked me, what is your favourite RSPB reserve? And it took me a second because RSPB Middleton Lakes is technically my closest, it is my local. But on the other hand, you've got the headline reserves like Benton Cliffs with all the gannets and the puffins which congregate every single year. It goes without saying that those are two fantastic reserves, but they're not my favourite. My favourite is of course RSPB Otmoor. I don't know what it is about this place. I think I had such an awesome welcome on my first ever visit that it's just kind of had a bit of a special place in my heart. I don't know. But anyway, today I'm here at RSPB Otmoor and I'm here to do a little bit of bird photography. So let's go for a wander, let's go for a little walk around and let's see what we can find. Talking of welcomes, like what a welcome. Tens of thousands of starlings in a murmuration, just, I don't know, doing their thing. Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Been here for like half an hour and already I've seen some marsh harrier and I've had two different species of deer. Not really too sure what the first was, potentially a fallow or a roe, who knows. If you could let me know, that'd be sweet. But the second was a muntjac, so small, dumpy looking deer, but beautiful one nonetheless. I've just got to the bird hide, and this is actually a pretty good bird hide because it gives you near as damn it 360-degree views of the area. So over here to my right, I've got a big old field with a bit of water, a bit of mud in it, and it's currently filled with a bunch of Canadian geese. In front, I've got a bit of a path and a couple of hedgerows, which by the looks of it are attracting a couple of reed buntings and chaffinches. And finally, to my left over here, I've got another field, which at least on first glance appears to be empty. So I'm going to concentrate all my efforts in this direction. So checking out the field with the Canadian geese, as a pheasant goes AWOL, and keeping an eye on the hedgerows for all the small sort of birds as well. I've just made the decision to swap sides, and that is because I've just noticed a yellow hammer jumping up and down the hedgerows in the hawthorn, currently surrounded by a load of red berries. Now, if you didn't know, yellow hammer numbers are severely declining. A lot of people think this is because farmers are trimming their hedges a lot more than they used to, keeping everything neat and tidy and all that. So this is actually quite a rare one. You really don't see as many as you used to. And it's such a shame because they really are such beautiful birds. Just having a bit of a nice moment because I realised there were actually two yellow hammers, not just for one. So as I was, had my camera pointed at the hedge photographing one of the yellow hammers, I heard a bit of a commotion on the hedge on the left. So I quickly got my camera on it, and it turns out a sparrowhawk just dived into the hedge. Now I couldn't get a clear shot. I managed to rattle off a quick couple of frames as it was flying away, so I only got its back end, but they really are, like silent killers. They'll appear out of nowhere and just cause devastation to the little birds. But what fantastic birds they are, really aggressive birds. I spent a lot longer in my hide than I initially intended, but I was never going to miss the opportunity to watch the yellow hammers searching for food up and down the hedgerows. Anyway, with the weather still on my side, I figured now would be the best chance to make my way onto the next location. I've just got myself to the first viewing hide, and I'm like 60% sure I just saw a bittern. So I sat down, I saw something kind of large and brown flying over the reeds, and pulled the camera out, tried to take a few shots, but I was unfortunately let down by Nikon's autofocus system. It got confused and just completely misfocused. Like, yes, I'm in bird detect and all of that. It just didn't want to know. So all I've got is a blurry brown smudge to try ID of a bird with. Now again, the coloration was correct. The size, I think, was correct. The habitat is definitely correct. So yeah, I'm about 60% sure. For the last like week or two, I keep coming to locations like this, you know, reed beds, and joking about seeing them. And I think I just did. I think. Oh, Nikon. You just heard me blame the camera for missing the shot. But let's be real for a second, it was all me. My autofocus grouping was simply too large and my subject was just way too small within that grouping itself. So I can sit in the field and blame the camera as much as I want, but in reality, it was all user error. It's all kicking off at screen 1 at the moment. Just had a small flock of snipe just do a few laps around the lake. And I've just also had the 2 Marsh harrier flying above as well. Now they've just both dove into the marshes, so potentially they found something, but he's hoping they pop out again sometime soon. One of the Marsh Harriers has just been actually quite active. So it's been circling the lake and it actually stopped on 2 different, you know, like bushes to sort of sit and chill for a bit. Anyway, every photographer knows this struggle, particularly wildlife photographers. You'll have a picture in mind. So the picture I have in mind here is of the Marsh Harrier flying very, very low, straight towards camera, just slightly above the reeds. That's the shot I want. But I haven't got it just yet. So obviously I need the bird to play along a little bit, which, you know, wildlife, it's not always their strong point, but that's the shot I have in mind. Low over the reeds, flying straight towards me. And if the light would also be perfect, that would also be great. You know, I don't think I'm asking for too much there. I just want perfect conditions, perfect subject, perfect posing. I don't think I'm asking for too much. I'm still making my way down this path and it's all kind of going on, which is actually one of the reasons why Otmoor is my favourite reserve. But yeah, I just had a green woodpecker, well, startle itself, jump up from the field and fly into a tree. And well, unfortunately I was just a bit too slow. And on top of that, I just had a peregrine falcon flying high above me as well. So I did manage to get a camera on it. I did manage to get a little bit of footage, but it's so silhouetted against the bright sky. But in terms of raptors and birds of prey today, I'm doing so well. I've made it to the second screen and you know, it's not too dissimilar from the first. There's the same sort of species here. So all of your regular sort of ducks, like your widgeon, your teal, for example. A couple of shovelers thrown in. And actually, there is a little egret towards the back. But as I was walking up here, there's actually a tractor. So members of the RSPB are currently doing work, trimming the grass and whatnot. So I actually think that's forced a few birds over here, because when I first arrived here, it was actually a bit empty. So this lake essentially had nothing in it, and over the last course, over the last couple of minutes, that's when everything's finally started to come in. Much like the rain, which is finally starting to come down as well. In all fairness, a lot later than I thought it would have done. But yeah, I think this is the perfect excuse to break out the coffee, have a little chill, and let's see if the rain alters any of the birds' behaviours. I just have to quickly correct myself. It's actually a great egret, but I'll sort it back, not a little egret. Hey, sometimes you get things mixed up. So then folks, even with the rain, I still think it's been an amazing time here at RSPB Otmoor. It's been awesome seeing my red kite. It's always a pleasure catching up with a Marsh harrier, and I even think we had a bittern, which is amazing. But anyway, with that, I just want to say thank you so much for watching as usual. So if you haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers folks.